Namaste. Hi, I'm Stephen Ewashkiw. Thanks for being here. This will be about a 15-minute class where we're going to talk about and practice Ujjayi Pranayama. So if you'd like to get whatever you need to sit comfortably, you can pause the video and grab whatever tools you need. I'm sitting on a block and blanket combo, but whatever will make you comfortable. I'll be here waiting. Ujjayi Pranayama. We talk about it a lot in yoga, and in a Vinyasa practice we instruct it a lot, but in a Vinyasa practice we don't often have the time it takes in class to give you enough instruction if you're unfamiliar with Ujjayi Pranayama or if it's been a long time since you've been taught Ujjayi Pranayama. So let's start with what I'm saying. Ujjayi Pranayama. Pranayama. So yama means a restriction, and prana, I only have 15 minutes or so. So it's a whole other conversation that we should probably go into. But for the case of this conversation, let's say prana is your breath. It's so much more than that, but I'll do another conversation about that at some point. So it's a restriction of the breath, sort of. That's generally how we describe pranayama. And it's what we're going to work with today, is focusing your breath or restricting your breath in some way. And I'll talk about a few of the restrictions we put on how you breathe. So Ujjayi. Ujjayi means uplifting or victorious. So Ujjayi Pranayama is an uplifting or a victorious restriction of the breath. So the restriction that we put into our breath helps lift us up, helps us be victorious. That's what Ujjayi Pranayama means. What does that mean in reality? Well, one of the things that we do in Ujjayi Pranayama is breathe through our nose rather than through our mouth. How does that help you be victorious or lift you up? Well, there's this thing called nitric oxide. And nitric oxide is produced by your sinuses. Now, let me just pause that and give you a caveat, which is I like science. There's a lot of pseudoscience that happens in the world. There's a lot of pseudoscience that happens in yoga. I'm really into science, and I really like facts, and I really like to be clear when I'm teaching you that what I'm teaching you is based in reality. Nitric oxide is based in reality. Nitric oxide is produced by your sinuses. So when you breathe through your nose, it helps you actually create more nitric oxide. Why is that relevant? Well, nitric oxide is related to what's happening in your immune system. And nitric oxide actually helps boost your immune system. It helps go into your lungs, and it helps fight bacteria, viruses, parasites. So it's a really useful thing to have a bit more of in your lungs, in your body. So when we do nose breathing, we're increasing the amount of nitric oxide that your body produces. And that's going to help you stay healthy. It's going to help fight infections, which will help lift you up and be victorious in this life. So that's one of the reasons that Ujjayi Pranayama is Ujjayi, is victorious and uplifting. There are so many other reasons, and I'll get to those in other conversations about Ujjayi. But let's practice Ujjayi. So I want you to take 2 fingers and reach underneath where you're sitting. And find that little bony bit at the bottom of your pelvis. There's a bony protrusion that sticks out at the bottom of your hip, the bottom of your pelvis. You might already know this bony bit, your sit bone. Technically, it's called your ischial tuberosity. Don't worry about that, though. If you sit on your fingers and wiggle around and feel that bump, you can feel it's really there. So is whoever's making that fun sound behind me, really there. It's beautiful here in the paradise of Desaseni. Then, just so you know that there's one on the other side, there is a sit bone on the other side. Reach with your other hand and your fingers and feel it. I like to sit on it so I can really feel it and know that it's there, and it's not just something that the teacher is saying, oh yeah, it's there, don't worry about it, it's there. I want you to know, like, it's real. There are these bony protrusions on either side of your pelvis. They're going to be landmarks that we're going to use here. And then there are two other landmarks. There's your tailbone at the very back and bottom of your spine. You might know that, and if you do, cool. If you don't, if you just take a finger and reach down a little bit into your butt crack, yeah, I said butt crack, welcome to yoga, below your waistband, down into your butt crack, you'll feel the very bottom of your spine. That very bottom bit curves in and underneath you, a little like a finger would, and that's your coccyx or your tailbone. At the front of your pelvis, this one's harder to find when you're seated. Sometimes we do it standing, but I told the videographer that I'd stay seated for this, so we're going to do what we can. Bring your thumbs together and your index fingers together. And then with your thumbs, touch your belly button, and with your index fingers, reach down through the folds of your shorts, through the folds of your flesh, and work to straighten your thumbs and straighten your index fingers and push into your lower belly. There's a bone there that's where the pelvis comes together at the front of your body. It's called the pubic bone. If you can feel it, awesome. If you can't, you can always stand up and do this same thing of thumbs together and reaching down and finding it. It is that far away. However that far is in your body, it's some of the amazing math that's involved in the structures that form our human body. So that works for everybody. So you can always stand up and find it, press pause, and come back to it when you know where your pubic bone is. You might already. So we have four landmarks that we're going to look at. The sit bones on either side of our pelvis, and the pubic bone at the front and tailbone at the back. They mark the four sides of what we call your pelvic floor. And that's where your Ujjayi Pranayama starts. This is where your Mula Bandha starts. So some of you might practice the bandhas or might hear about them in class. What I'm going to talk to you and get you to do right now is to help you be more aware of your Mula Bandha. So I want you to do this. Imagine that you have to pee and squeeze all of the muscles in your abdomen, in your lower abdomen, in your pelvis that you would squeeze to stop peeing. Do it now. You can make the face too. That helps. And then relax. Do it again. Squeeze everything in that you would do if you were trying to stop peeing. And then relax. Do it one more time, because it's fun for me to make this face, and I'm imagining you all making the face at home. Squeeze. No pee, and release. Maybe also no pee. Now that's more than we want to engage when we do this thing that we call tone the pelvic floor, or often called Mula Bandha. So what I want you to do now is practice a gentle, gradual engagement of those muscles. So like you're slowly drawing everything in to stop the flow of urine. Do that now. So make it gradual. Start, make the engagement more and more and more, and then release. And do that 2 more times. Draw from your sit bones in. Draw your pubic bone and tailbone towards each other. Hug everything in gradually, gradually, gradually until it's all tight and toning and you might not be able to breathe anymore, and then relax. And do that 1 more time. You can imagine your sit bones drawing in, your pubic bone and your tailbone drawing in so that your pelvic floor is closing up a little as you engage more and more and more. You'll feel other things. Your belly will tone, your back will engage, your face might scrunch up like mine does, and then relax. So this is working to help you understand that you can be in control of these muscles. It doesn't have to just be strong, 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 but there are different grades of engagement. The next thing I'm going to get you to do is start to create that toning, but not create as much toning as all of it. It's all your effort. My anatomy teacher, she says to engage at about 25%, but what does that mean? So it means not everything. It means not just half as much as you can do, but even a little bit less. So it really is a subtle toning of this muscle. So there are 2 muscles that we're really primarily focusing on. Don't worry about the names of them, but what I think is important that you know is that one of the muscles goes roughly running sideways along the bottom of your pelvis from your sit bone to your sit bone. So when you think about moving those two little bony bits on either side towards each other, it's going to help tone one of the muscles of your pelvic floor. And then there's another muscle that runs front and back from your pubic bone and your tailbone towards each other, roughly. And when you move from the front of your pelvis and the back of your tailbone towards each other, it helps tone this other muscle with the fibers of the muscle going front and back. So we've got one going side to side and one going front to back. There are lots of other muscles that happen in the bottom of your pelvis, in your pelvis in general, but these are the two that we're primarily focused on when we do Mula Bandha, or tone your pelvic floor. So what I want you to do now is think about moving your sit bones towards each other, and then gently move your sit bones in towards each other. You won't feel much movement in your body, but you might feel some of those muscles we were just playing with engage. Relax. Then go front to back. Move your pubic bone and your tailbone slowly towards each other. I know it can be strange. It's like I can't really move those things, but you might start to remember those muscles that we engage when we went, and feel them starting to work when you visualize the front and back of your pelvis moving towards each other. And then relax. Now we're going to work to bring those together. From the sides of your pelvis, draw in slightly, just a little. From the front and back of your pelvis, draw in slightly, just a little, so that you start to feel that there is some toning of the muscles at the bottom of your pelvis. Now this is another fun visualization. Imagine you just sat on something cold and lift the bottom of your pelvis away from the cold thing. I like to visualize like, oh, it's like cold floor. Ooh, everything lifts a little. So keep the muscles toning and lifting, and relax. That toning and lift is the start of Ujjayi Pranayama. It's what we call Mula Bandha, or the root lock. Another part of our Ujjayi Pranayama is toning the belly. So working to keep your belly still as you breathe, rather than letting it move out and in. And another part is to breathe through your nose. Those are the three parts we're going to work on, but obviously I put the most focus in what's happening at the bottom of your pelvis. So let's start there. Gently move your sit bones in. Gently move your pubic bone and tailbone front and back towards each other, and then get that little, ooh, I sat on something cold. Also, tone your belly. Try this. Place one hand on your belly. And then breathe through your nose. Work to keep the hand on your belly from moving out or in with your breath so that you feel your chest expanding more. Breathe through your nose. Now you may have forgotten what's happening at the bottom of your pelvis, or you may have let those muscles go. If you're new to engaging those muscles, it's hard to keep them engaged. So tone them again. Draw in from the sides. Draw in from the front and back and get a little lift in the bottom of your pelvis. As you breathe through your nose, work to keep your belly still. Keep your pelvic floor toned. If you can keep your belly still and release your hand to your lap, do that. If it helps to keep it there, do that. Close your eyes. Closing your eyes can help take away the distractions that are going on around you. Breathe through your nose to help boost your immune system. Breathe through your nose to help focus your mind and focus your breath. So there are three outer parts of Ujjayi Pranayama that we're focusing on. Breathing through your nose, toning your belly, and toning the bottom of your pelvis by moving your sit bones from the left and the right side of your pelvis in slightly, moving your pubic bone from the front and tailbone from the back in towards each other slightly, and getting that little lift in the bottom of your pelvis. Mula Bandha, the root lock. It's the root, the start of your Ujjayi. Work to keep those three aspects as part of your practice of your breath. the pranayama, the restrictions that we bring in to your breath. And then work to make your inhale and your exhale the same length as each other. So first we built this container to hold your breath. Now I want you to be focusing on your breathing. So make your inhale and exhale the same length as each other. And also work to make your inhale steady from the beginning to the end of your inhale, and steady from the beginning to the end of your exhale. Create that slight toning and lifting at the bottom of your pelvis. Create a subtle engagement of your belly moving back towards your spine to keep your belly still. Breathe through your nose. And now I'm going to have us breathe together for a few rounds of Ujjayi Pranayama. I'm going to count our breath to a count of 3 for your inhale and 3 for your exhale. Wherever you are in your breath, exhale. Pause at the bottom of your exhale. Notice the bottom of your pelvis. And exhale even more breath out. At the very, very bottom of your breath, when all of your breath moves out, your pelvic floor will tone. That happens naturally in your body. Work to keep that toning. Tone your belly, breathe through your nose. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Pause. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Pause. Let's practice it in Bahasa. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Keep breathing like this. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. Keep breathing like that on your own. And all work to bring your mind back to the toning of your pelvis, to the root block. Move your sit bones towards each other a little. Move your pubic bone and tailbone towards each other a little. And give yourself a little lift to the bottom of your pelvis. Tone your belly. Move it back towards your spine slightly. And breathe through your nose. To help your body create more nitric oxide. To help steady your breath. And to help focus your mind. Yoga is chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is a calming of the fluctuations of the mind. Pranayama helps by calming the fluctuations of your breath. By focusing your breath, it helps you focus your mind. Release your breath. Return to your natural breathing. That's a type of breath we call sahaja, which means natural breath. If your eyes were closed, open your eyes. This really is stage 1 of pranayama. Maybe it's stage 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something, but it's really just the beginning of your journey into Ujjayi Pranayama. You can see why in a Vinyasa class we don't have time to go through all of those instructions, so we'll give you just a little soupçon of what Ujjayi Pranayama is, a little taste. I hope that this bigger meal of Ujjayi Pranayama helps you taste it more, helps you understand it more, and digest it more. I'll be filming a few more of these classes, so keep an eye out for those, and we can go into more of what's happening in your belly, more what's happening in your throat, and more what's happening in the oxygenation of your blood when we do Ujjayi Pranayama. Thanks. I'll see you on the mat soon. Namaste. Thanks for joining me for class today. Before you go, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, please just click on my picture there to subscribe. And if you're looking for a class to do, there's one of my classes that you can do another day. Click on that, add it to your watch later list. Bada bing, done. Thanks for practicing. I'll see you soon.